Humanities 9 students get to create many great products in this course. Projects include short stories, graphic novels, poems, essays, PowerPoint presentations, videos, newspapers, exhibits, models, and much more. And there's one thing that all of these assignments have in common, and that's research. So there are 5 steps that need to be taken with all of the projects. The first is to choose the project and narrow down the topic. The second is to do some light preliminary research. The third is to complete a proposal, oftentimes coming in the form of a graphic organizer that's provided for you. The fourth step is to do some really in-depth research and take your notes, and the fifth step would be to write your bibliography. So with the first step, choosing the project, you need to choose something that interests you. Chances are, if the topic doesn't interest you, you're not going to put a lot of effort into it, or you're not going to enjoy it. And we want you to enjoy this course and have fun with it and get a lot out of it. So choose something that interests you. You also need to choose something that you can find ample information on. So make sure you have access to resources. Every project requires at least 5 resources, and the textbook should be one of those resources. When you are required to choose your own topic, make sure you choose a topic that you can handle. So for some of the projects, you're given some guidelines, but then you're asked to, and you're told what kind of a product to create, but we might say that the topic can come from any topic covered in the social studies or the Crossroads textbook. So if you do need to make sure that the topic is not going to be too broad. So a topic that's too broad would be deciding to research and build a model of an entire 19th century village. So one of the projects does require that you do a research paper as well as build a model. And so that would just be a huge job. Not only to build the whole village, but also to research the village. That's a lot of content. That entire books and probably sets of books have been written about. But at the same time, you don't want it to be too narrow. Now, this is not very likely that you'll choose a topic that's too narrow, but an example of one would be deciding to research and build a model of a 19th century toothbrush. You're probably not going to find a lot of information about a 19th century toothbrush. So that would be a poor choice in topic. So that when you're focusing your topic, one of the strategies you can use is to ask yourself these 5 questions. First, what's your big topic? So an important innovation or a structure from the 16th to 1900 would be a large topic, and the kind of topic that you might be assigned in the course. Your second question would be, what is your narrowed down topic? And so it might be a mode of transportation from, and here I should have written the 1800s, but okay, you might narrow down the year anyway. What is your focus topic? Well, let's actually pick the mode of transportation and the year it comes from. How about the rocket locomotive, which had the first steam engine in 1829. So what do you hope, and the next question would be, what do you hope to prove or discover about the topic? So how this use of the steam engine in the locomotives changed society. And the fifth question is, what is your central research question? How did the use of the steam engine in locomotives change society? Now I've got a really narrowed topic, and I can make sure that the research that I do answers that question, not everything else, okay? So ask yourself then those 5 questions when you're trying to focus your topic. Now, if you'd like other strategies for narrowing a topic, I have created another short lesson, a video clip on strategies for narrowing a topic, and so you can check that out if you need to. So the second step is to do your preliminary research. That's just the light research. So do some research, see what you can find in books, magazines, encyclopedias, the internet, and if you can't find enough information, then the topic is probably not right for you. So this is to give you just a little bit of information about your topic, give you a little bit of direction. The third step would be to complete your proposal or graphic organizer, and there's a number of different types of graphic organizers that have been provided with various projects. So, although every project does have some kind of a proposal or graphic organizer. And so I've supplied here a couple examples. So it might be a pretty specific chart where you compare the regions of North America, comparing their topography, climate, and vegetation and ranking them. And then it could be something like a star diagram, a story star, in which for each of the parts of the star there, you would describe the characters, the setting, the conflict, and so forth. This is a popular kind of a proposal graphic organizer that you would have done in eScience 8, in which you put the topic in the center, and the idea behind the graphic organizers and proposals is to sometimes help you narrow your topic and sometimes help you just organize your information, and it really acts as a sort of an outline. In-depth research and notes. Step 4. So in the process of finding or narrowing down a topic and completing the proposal, you should have done a little research to make sure that you found a topic that you were interested in and found a topic that had enough information. Now you'll need to do some deeper research and take notes. And so I have created a note-taking video lesson for you to watch, and there is an assignment that goes along with that, so you need to make sure that you do that. So the other important thing is that you know your sources. So not all web information is reliable, and all sources have a bias. So they have a predisposition towards being positive or negative because of their experiences with that topic. So for example, a parent normally has a positive bias for their child, for example. So you're not necessarily going to get a really accurate presentation of that person if it just comes from their parent. You might hear all of the positive things and maybe none of the negative aspects, for example. So look at the address when you're looking at your sources. .edu means the site is connected to a school. .gov or .com are usually reliable, so those are some reliable ones. Something like a wiki or a blog are people's opinions. So those are going to be less reliable. You're going to have to think about the bias involved with them. A company site is going to have a bias too. They're trying to sell something normally, and so of course they're going to put it in a positive light. Check out university sites. Educational sites are usually pretty good. Online encyclopedias. Wikipedia is one that I would look skeptically at, because that information does come from a variety of people and their knowledge, and they're not always it's not always academically correct. So recommended sites. So these are a few that I've looked at and recommended. One of them is discoveryeducation.com, and I think you'll really enjoy that one. You do need a password for Discovery Education, but I will supply that password for you, as well as brainpop.com. But eBus does have subscriptions to both of those, and I will provide their password. When you log into Discovery Education as a student, this is what comes up. And if you go to streaming, you will see that there are a variety of different sections and subjects. And so for this course, social studies would be a good one, and you can look up, there's some geography, world history. The course doesn't cover much on United States history, but it does cover a little bit. So you can simply click on what interests you. You can also select, and so we could select here Enlightenment and Industrial Revolution, which is grade 9 content. And whichever little video you scroll over, it provides a little description. And you can select the grade 2 that is relevant to you, so you could do that here. So you can just watch, there's a lot of videos and you get to watch them, and they're free, and those can be some of the resources and that you use for your projects. BrainPop is another great site that I think you will find fun, and so you can actually select the subjects. So social studies I've selected, and you'll see the different topics here, and you can watch little video clips, and it's cartoon characters who come up and teach you about that subject. And as I said, it includes little, you can see free movies, quizzes, and so forth. So this one requires a password, but I will I will provide that for you if you'd like. Well, not if you'd like, I will provide it for you, regardless. So there are a number of different websites here that you can see, and the Canadian Encyclopedia, for example, is a really reliable website for the Canadian content of the course. And there's some fun, kidspass.com, and so you can check those out. I also encourage you to use other sources of information than just the internet. Take a look at books, encyclopedias, periodicals or magazines. Libraries have indexes for periodicals where subjects can be looked up. Also TV and radio, interviews, perhaps you know an expert that you can. And once you've got your sources lined up, and you've got a broad overview, start asking yourself questions. Usually the proposal will guide you, but if it doesn't, start with the 5 W's and 1 H. The what, the when, the where, the why, the who, the how. Your questions will start to guide your research. So step 5, note-taking. By this point, you'll have chosen your topic, explored the topic, come up with questions, found resources, and most likely completed the proposal. Now what? It's time to gather your resources together and start taking notes. And so I have, as I said, created a note-taking video for a lesson on note-taking. And so you do need to make sure that you view that, as there is a specific style of notes that I want you to take. And make sure you use your sources efficiently. Many resources, such as articles from the internet, are short enough to read from beginning to end, but other resources are too long. So use the index to find the parts that relate to your topic. If you are researching a specific industrial revolution invention, you're going to want to use the index of a large book to look for that specific, the spinning Jenny, for example. You want to find that in the index rather than reading the whole entire book about the Industrial Revolution. So feel free to skim parts that don't relate to your topic. You also want to make sure that you avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is an act of fraud. It is when you pass off the ideas of others as being your own. Plagiarism is a serious offense, and I have provided a great plagiarism tutorial. It's interactive, and I think you'll enjoy it as you learn more about plagiarism and how to avoid it. And for the final step, you'll need to write a bibliography. So that's a list of sources found on its own page at the end of the essay. The bibliography is in alphabetical order, and the books and articles are alphabetized by the author's last name. And I have also provided a video on writing a bibliography. So for music and graphics, if you are using music for assignments, use Creative Commons for copyright-free material. Just because something's on the internet doesn't mean that it's just okay to just use it and not give credit to the sources. For pictures, also use Creative Commons sites, and so I've provided, again, a website that includes free graphics that where the people who've provided the graphics have given permission, basically, for you to use them. And some examples I will show you. The other thing I would encourage you to do when you putting graphics in is to use clip art from your like Microsoft Office. So the clip art you've seen in this video have come from the clip art in Microsoft Office. Some of it, this one for example, in the corner of the camera, came from Creative Commons, that Creative Commons website that I've provided. So did this one here, you can see, www.shutterstock.com. Thank you for enjoying or joining me, and I hope you enjoy the projects and your research.